lovely human beings. Today I'm meeting a very special human being. Her name is Magali, and she's doing transformational catalyzation and healing, which is self-healing. And I really want to know a lot of things today. I want to know about your path, how you found it, about your purpose, your story. So tell us, what are you doing?
I named it Momoko, which in Japanese is a feminine name, but it also means child of the peach trees. And the peach trees in Japan are a symbol for longevity. My practice today looks like it's the mix of everything I have learned until now, because I feel like it's always evolving with me, what I'm doing. I've learned many modalities on my path because I was always following my inquiries when I was working with myself or with my clients. You know, for example, when I was noticing I'm using this modality, but somehow it's not working this time. So I continue exploring, following my questions and my curiosity. And ultimately, I think what was very helpful in learning different modalities are like protocols that you follow. But behind these protocols, there are like laws, you know, like how energy is moving, why is it stagnating, why is it not in movement, what does it need to be in movement. And over time and practice, I feel like I got in touch more with that, what is behind the protocol. And of course, that doesn't mean I don't use these tools, but it's in a much more organic way, much more intuitive way, because my first step in my practice is actually to feel what is present right now in the field. Where does this aliveness wants to go and what does it need to move? And from there, I can pick up what is the best tool to do that.
If I would come to you and say that is still actually happening, like I'm freezing sometimes, you know, I'm meeting new circumstances or new people, maybe judgmental people, and I feel that I just disappear. I'm going out from my mind and I'm just like there and not there. Or at the same time, I'm sure you're meeting requests. Usually they are multiple, not only one problem, right? Like so, and at the same time, it can be like I can change my life for someone I love, and then figure out that it's not really my path. So, what would be the process look like for my case, or like for anyone in this case?
From what I understood you describe, in some situations, you feel like you are disappearing, you are going away. Mm-hmm. So I think that's what we call dissociation. It's like going out of your body. It's a strategy that we all have when things, for example, are overwhelming. We just feel too much activation in our nervous system. And because it's like an electrical system, a nervous system, it's like you blow a fuse, you know, to protect from the high voltage. You just chook, which is very smart because otherwise you would burn. But often also it can have to do with not seeing a possibility to have your boundaries respected or to feel like, you know, things are too close to you and there's no way to push them away. So the way to go is to escape your body. But yeah, if I would work with you, I think I would start by asking you, when you tell me about this situation, do you feel in your experience that this experience is a bit activated? Present in a way?
Not now.
No?
I feel with you it's kind of really natural and nice, but with some more judgmental people, I would say, when I feel that we don't, not similar. Yeah, so like that.
Yes. So when you think about these situations with judgmental people, try to maybe use a memory or imagine you are right now with a judgmental person. Do you feel something changing in your experience?
Not my favorite, but yes, sure.
So tell me where in your body you feel, in your heart you feel it. And I saw you do like this.
Yes.
So you want to protect this part?
Yes, sure.
You know, I would say my first reaction would be to say it would make sense if you feel that someone is gonna maybe, you know, judgment is a way of like not seeing the value in you. And so what is most precious probably in your heart, and so you want to protect, you don't want to show this,
Yeah,
because maybe it's like in French we have this expression to give jam to pigs. You know, if they
oh,
know they're not
exactly.
gonna appreciate, I'm not
Oh, we
giving
have it
you.
in Ukrainian as well.
Really?
Yes, it's incredible. You're really right. I really have the feeling, even after meeting with such people, I sleep with my few pillows. I have my pillow nest, to protect. Like, it's amazing. We figure out, for example, that it's in my heart, and then
So from there, I would just follow the thread. First, I would see the value of this protective mechanism, you know, that it's not something wrong, because I see many people get on the wrong track of healing sometimes when they start to judge the pattern they want to change. They start to see it as, that's wrong, I want it to go away. But that's not how energy works. Energy is going to move through more love in your system. But if you say this is wrong, it's not love and acceptance you bring there. It's more shame, you know, more wrongness in you. It has the opposite effect. It contracts.
repression again.
Yes. So first we need to bring love also to that strategy, because when you develop this, it was maybe the only strategy that was accessible for you when you wanted to protect. First we connect with that part of you that developed a strategy, and we give it a lot of love, a lot of appreciation and understanding, and also empathy, because it really hurts to feel like someone is reflecting something that is so precious to us, seeing it as something bad, you know, or not good enough. So it really hurts when people do that. Just bringing all these things to create a cocktail of love there and build trust with that part. What we want to do next, once we have hold that part and release the emotional charge and create more safety, we can develop a more mature strategy to deal with this. Because the strategies we developed when we were younger, of course they were intelligent, but they were often short-term oriented, because it needs to go fast, it needs to go very quick, and actually it should not last. But then we create a loop that we repeat and it becomes automatic, and that's when, you know, it has long-term bad effects. What we want to do is we want to change this strategy. And for the adult, the best protection actually is not to make yourself small, it's to make yourself big and open and radiate, you know. But this is only possible when you are actually holding that younger part of yourself in love and it feels safe inside. Then you can be in your adult self. So that's why I say the first part is really, really important. We should not bypass and go directly to the second part. Yes, I would say like maybe, you know, it depends on people. Sometimes it's enough to work through the talking, even though the talking also has like this somatic component. For some people, I would need maybe to guide them a bit deeper in the body through a meditation, because sometimes it's less accessible. And this should not be something just happening here, you know, it should be something really connecting your felt experience, that you really feel that part of you that wants to keep small, but you also feel that part of you that can be very straight and open and grounded, you know, and we bring them both together. And for some people, sometimes I will say maybe we should do a little bit of body work, because sometimes I can't reach these parts through the talking. So I try then through the touch. And yes.
I thought you would dance, but body work means touch. Okay.
Sometimes we dance too. Like I say, it can look very different depending what the person is needing in the moment.
Wow. Yes, I feel it is holistic, it's all together, and you really have a lot of experience. So I would really love to ask your chronology, if you're willing to say that, but the reason why did you start your search? What was this story? What did you study? And what is the background behind your work?
I think the most important reasons that make me start to study healing was the first one, that I started to be sick myself. After I escaped a very toxic relationship, I became, I mean, already during the relationship, but after, you know, it started to become more systemic, the symptoms I was having. Traditional medicine was not helpful. I was bounced back between doctors and specialists, and they just didn't know what I had. I started to study myself. That's when I started also to discover more alternative form of healing, experience improvements, and experience that also it was not only improving my symptoms, but it was improving my state, the way I was feeling, which is something that I never thought was possible. Before, to be physically ill, I had periods in my life when I've been so unhappy, I was just suffering so much and I didn't know why. I was, you know, suicidal for years. I couldn't see, you know, what can I do to feel different, you know, because it didn't seem like anything I was doing in my life was changing how I felt deep inside. And so unexpectedly, when I was trying to heal my body, I noticed through these alternative therapies, I noticed, wow, it's also changing something I had given up on. So I became very, very curious from that moment, you know, of course. It was parallel to starting my meditation path. And it was also parallel to me becoming a mother. I did my first meditation retreat when I was 8 months pregnant. Yes, that's also when I thought I need to have a different career where I have more choice around my work times and I can be more flexible to be there for my child. And so I started to learn shiatsu during pregnancy. And from there, it became like this big research. Okay, I was working with my clients and you know, started to practice shiatsu with them and then noticing things happening, and it would bring up questions, so I would do more research, and then parallel to that I had my own healing sessions and meditation experiences where I was also researching and also seeing the parallels between these things. Since then it never stopped, this big research and inquiry. So
it's actually so interesting because I have a bit similar path with experience, and I think that relationships sometimes they're our best teachers that bring us like everything bad, sometimes for better. But they can really.
the harshest teachers.
You mentioned on your website that you work with neurodiverse people and you yourself feel yourself different. Can I ask you how you see the world? For example, if I meet a new person, I usually want to know like, but what kind of problem do you have, or like what do you really want, and something that is more important than little talk, for example.
Oh my God, yes, this is a big neurodivergent thing that we don't like small talk. We just don't like small talk. And I would say for me it's even like, it's not that I just don't like it, it's like I feel like I'm dying inside when I have to be in a situation like this. I feel like I'm desiccating literally, you know, like my life force is just being, I don't know, pulled out of myself. I think as a very curious person, for me it's very hard to not talk about a very important thing. The rest, you know, like everyone, we all have small things to deal with our lives, but I'm like, I'm already spending time doing them. Why should I talk about them on top of it, you know? I rather want to talk about the mysteries of the universe and like what is the thing that's, you know, really moves you and you feel is sacred, or like, you know. And I feel like that's when I feel alive.
I feel you anyway. Can we just speak about it?
Yes, and I think that, so another thing that is happening for me with people, and often it's when they are doing small talk, but they can also be talking about something they present as important. But I have double reading of the situation because I feel often the emotion people are suppressing, like it's almost like they push it away, but it's like bouncing on me.
Exactly, yeah.
And it's so strong, so I feel like I have two things presented at the same time. when I was younger, this like cognitive dissonance, I interpreted as a child as like, oh, okay, so I guess I'm wrong. What I feel people tell me is not there. So I just thought, well, I guess I'm terrible. I'm really terrible, and I should never trust myself. I should always trust what other people say. But despite that, fortunately, I had quite a strong instinct. I sometimes in my life I tried to conform, but I never really managed. And I always felt like I was dying inside every time I was doing that. So I always ended up actually trusting the deeper current I was feeling in myself. I'm glad that through healing, I could actually consciously really trust what I was feeling and see that many things that surround us, I don't want to say a lie, but that there can be a big gap between what people think consciously, think of themselves, think that they are doing, think about their intentions, and what is the thing that is really moving them, what is the thing that is operating them unconsciously. Oh, yeah. Versus the story they are telling themselves about it. Yes, I think it's very important to be able to distinguish this to make good choices in relationships. That's also why I ended up in this very toxic relationship that made me sick, is because I was not there yet, that I was trusting. I was still telling myself, oh, but then I must be wrong and it must be my fault. And, when the signs came, I interpreted them all about me being wrong. And I think that, yes, to have more discernment in relationship, we need to be able to trust that, sometimes in the first seconds we know. Mm-hmm. Another thing I would also do is telling myself, oh, but don't be judgmental. Because again, still interpreting, I am the bad person here. I'm so judgmental, I shouldn't think that about the person. We can see that there is something not compatible for us, something that is not meeting the standards we want to have in relationship with people, recognizing, it's pretty clear with this person I'm not going to get, for example, honesty or accountability or this or that. It's not about judging them, but it's about being like, nice to meet you, and I think you have all these great qualities, but it's not the kind of thing I'm looking for in my life. And I think this leads us to make better choices.
And not believing that you can heal and change them with your love. In your practice, you teach us to connect to these parts as well, to your intuition, to recognize these kind of things and relationships, and just feel yourself and trust yourself. And what kind of results can happen after healing and self-healing and transformational catalyzation work that you do?
I could talk about some clients.
Yes.
I had someone coming in, for example, being very introverted and very shy, but also it was associated with thinking, when she would meet people, she would immediately think, they probably think I'm terrible. Before they say something, it's just she had this internal discourse somehow. She also was putting a lot of effort on trying to figure out what people want, and meeting this was not able to actually connect with what she really wants and figure out, is this a yes for me or is this a no for me? And so through the work together, we're at different stages, but right now she's really in a place where not only she's like really able to feel what she wants and needs, she's starting actually to be able to say no, even in situations when she actually knows it's not only in my mind. I know they're going to think bad of me, but I'm still doing it. And on the other hand, also be more open. Like she was worried also to show to people her joy, or share herself in small ways, for example, at our working place, when she actually likes to eat alone. But before she was a bit ashamed, because she thought, I really need it for myself to recharge, but probably people think I'm antisocial or something, so she would not talk to people. And now she's going to a table, but also it's such a nice day today. And she's like, people must think I'm crazy because of the change, but I don't care,
Wow.
because it's so nice to share when I feel joyful also, even if it's just in this small way, and feel like, for some people it's also like, sharing a good mood, and they feel,
But I understand that sometimes the little, it's not a little, for someone it's a little thing, but for someone it's so huge and different. It's like, yeah, and I can understand, for me saying no sometimes for people was difficult, and to learn to say no, I'm like, it's something huge, but for someone it's just normal. And sometimes you feel that you're just going to the level of normality, and for someone it's nothing, but for you it's the whole journey.
I was actually not finished about that client.
Oh, okay.
But
Finish.
is
It's
it,
okay. Yes.
yeah? No, because what I wanted to do is try to describe different stages of our evolution.
Okay. You could.
And no, because I was feeling so proud of her, because she started so constrained somehow, like not daring things that you say, like you say, that are normal for others. Even for her, it was very difficult. But now she's coming to a place where she's like starting to be so connected to herself. She's starting to feel bigger things want to change in her life, like starting to realize, why did I take this job actually,
Ta-da.
Like, how did I come to be in that place in my life? The choices I made, where did they come from? And so she's starting to come in her agency, which is about actually truly making decisions for herself and not making the outside world more important, and adjusting to that. So now she's really in an inquiry, I think, to like, what do I truly want to do with my life? And she's a very creative person, and I can totally see her going in that direction, but I'm just supporting her in actually seeing herself, what wants to move through her.
You can work with people long term, so you're supporting their
Yes.
journey, not only once, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
No, because it's just like small talk. If I work one time with someone, I mean, it depends. If someone really has done a lot of work with themselves, they might, just need a little bit of input from someone, like some mirroring and things like this, and then they are able to harness it and work with themselves. If they have a lot of self-responsibility, self-awareness, sometimes it can be enough. But most people I work with, I want to go deep with them, And if they want to work on a pattern, I don't want to lie to them. It's not, like I was telling you, I'm not the healer, like, oh, I'm going to take your problem away, and do some magic, and then, oh, it's gone. The way I work is I work with life force, and life force is healing, help removing the barriers, and then the life force can sometimes make something very magical happen, but it's not for me to decide. It is happening when the system is ready and there is enough life force that can move through, but it's not something I can push for, it's not something I can decide. So, and from my experience, usually these things can happen several times on your journey, but the journey itself is not like one of these magical moments and then it's over. It's you're in for the long haul, and I want to be honest with people. And also it's a lot of education and learning, because I teach people the tools to do it with themselves, and I tell them from the beginning how it works. Also because I was very naive at the beginning of my healing journey, and I really somehow believe I'm going to go to this person, they're going to heal me,
Last time, it's good.
Okay, the other one didn't work so well. It did a little bit, but okay, maybe this one is better. And I wished, no, because at some point I realized, no, I have to do it myself. Basically everyone can help me, and the tools can help me, but I have to go there myself. I wish someone would have told me that earlier. I felt like I was really naive when no one told me. So I tell my people straight away, this is what you can expect, this is how it's gonna look like. And I tell them, we do minimum 3 months together so that we can go through a full cycle, of experiencing something change, of experiencing a wave of a pattern transforming. I'm doing this since 13 years. I don't know how long it is for you, and I know older people, more advanced people who are still, working with their things. And it's not about like coming to a perfect place. It's just each step in that direction is so worth it, because I don't know, for me it's just make my life change so much, and the way I feel change so much. And I'm always happy, sometimes we work for a while together, then we make a pause, then they come back because they have other challenges, or they notice, wow, a new layer is become visible and I need support with that. Healing also works, is on a foundation of trust in the relationship. And when we've worked together already and we know each other so well, it's nicer.
I really appreciate that you're doing long work, because there are a lot of different healing tools, like some people do ayahuasca or something intense and fast. But after that, sometimes we have changes, but we don't know what to do, and have really someone who explain how first keep it, or how to overcome something. Because um, in my case, for example, I'm 2 years in this kind of emotional practice, when I realized as well, yes, okay, it's not about logic, it's not about other people doing magic, it's actually about it's here. But one day the changes was like complete, and my life changing for 100%. And at that moment I was really thankful that I have my supporter and the person who can just be with me, because I know that there are a lot of situations maybe when people can change and then they stay alone in this changing world, because I think we create our world with our what we believe in, with our thoughts, and if we just move something there, yes, the growth can go up, but as well with the growth can go changes can follow, and these changes sometimes feel like a storm. And yeah, for someone it's maybe smooth, but for me at one point it was like and everything changed.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes. And I feel like having a peak experience, having an insight into something, doesn't mean that we are after that embodying that, right? It means we got a glimpse into something that is possible, and sometimes we get also a big release. But how we bring that into the way we move through the world, and it's not just staying here. You know, how does it apply? Like, how does it change your relationship with your environment that you created from that other place? Like I was saying about my client realizing, oh, okay, now I'm realizing the things that surround me, I chose them from another place in my life for other reasons. And so it will have an impact on what you surround yourself with. So also the things that are already around you when you transform truly. When we experience a change that is too radical, like with ayahuasca, for example, sometimes people have a hard time coming back in their environment because it's just too drastic of a change and they cannot adapt. And the way I work with people is actually very soft. I let the intelligence of the energy lead me because it knows better than me. This is smarter than me. Life is smarter than me. So I let it lead me, and it knows exactly, how much your system can take in, how much it can open you. And so I think in this way it's completely safe. And if we use techniques that push, that, force through, I'm like, sure, you can try, but see how it is in the long term,
Exactly. I was trying ayahuasca experience, and then I came back absolutely to the even worse situation in my life, because I think that if we have something in there in our heart, in our mind, that is not worked through, like it will be still there, whatever experience a person can have.
Yes, I think actually that working with plants is great, and ayahuasca is a great thing, but in its context. That means people who use that have a very different relationship with it. And then when you bring it into the context of people who relate to it as like in the allopathic system, like give me the pill to heal me. This is not having the same results, you know, this is not, if you want to work with plants, with that kind of medicine, you need to have a devotional relationship to it. It needs to be a reciprocal relationship to it. And unfortunately, our context is the context of the hungry ghost is like, gimme, 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 you know? And is taking and is not giving back. And is not appreciating and is not honoring. From that place, you create very different effects.
But still, it's life changing in general. And
Of course.
I just thought that yes, I maybe will sound like I'm against it, but no, it's really changed and influenced my life a lot. I'm super thankful. But I meant that when we have something maybe deeper, it needed to be speak loud with someone and recognize with someone. Because sometimes we just don't know what is there and we don't know how to ask the question to understand it. Self-regulation. How do you take care about yourself and about your mental health and about your good feeling? And as well, how do you overcome feelings after sessions? Because sometimes I can understand that it's a lot about difficult emotions and maybe your daily practices to stay up and happy.
So it's very important for me to practice being connected with myself and being grounded because I'm hypersensitive. You know, I can really feel when I'm with someone, you know, what is going on with them, their bodily tensions, their emotions. And if I'm not grounded in myself, like, you know, and I used not to be grounded in myself at all, then I take on their things thinking it's mine. It's very important for me to spend a lot of time alone, feeling myself. And then I have my meditation practices. So it depends on the days and also on my exploration. At the moment, I love to practice things that are more Buddhist, tantric, but I also consider my dance practice meditation, letting my body move in the way it wants, not trying to have an agenda on it. And I want to come back to it, but I also used to do it with the voice. Go around being like, whatever what wants to come, whatever, you know, just giving it permission to be there, letting life move through you. And I feel like not having an agenda, having spaces where I don't have to have an agenda, because of course we have to have an agenda. I have a son, I have to bring him to school, I have to do groceries, I have to do this and this. I have, even if I love my work, I have to have appointments with my clients. I cannot be just like, okay, come now, I'm ready. You know, we have to have a schedule. But just like in the sessions with my clients, I need to have these spaces for myself as well, where I don't have an agenda for myself. Be in a place to express freely. Yes, it's what regenerates me, you know, what allow me to feel alive.
So beautiful. I'm like speaking to a sister. I'm like, oh my god, I'm not often speaking with people like you. And for me, it feels really like I'm speaking to someone who understands me. This expression is not just a weird thing, it's a survival and it's important. Yeah, beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Just the last question, if you have a dream, or how is, you know, this achieving dreaming style for you, or do you do manifestation, or you living just in the here and now and see what life would bring?
It's a bit of like trying to hold both, yeah, without falling on one side or the other more. So that means, yes, I have dreams and I have desires and I have visions and I have things I want, you know, and I have things that excite me and I'm just like, I want this so badly, you know. And keeping that as like a North Star, and, you know, sometimes it can mean, it doesn't mean like I have to have a plan of like, okay, so to get there I need to have step A and B and like, but it can look like, for example, okay, I can't have this right now, but how can I have more of that flavor in my life right now? Yes, creating the circumstances, having that kind of experiences, and that brings me back in the present moment. That means also if we have a desire and we are frustrated about it, it's important to be in the present and not reject the frustration and try to grasp, no, but I want this and this and this. So allowing the emotions that we feel when we cannot reach what we want, because I feel like this is also what gets us actually closer. When we strive for something, life will show us, okay, between this and you, there is this, all these obstacles. And so instead of seeing them as like non-desirable, seeing them as opportunity to resolve things that belong to your past self, to become your future self. I don't know if that makes sense.
Okay, and what is your favorite phrase for life, if you have one? Something like, it is what it is.
Oh my God, this is not a favorite one. Right now, what I'm thinking is what used to be my favorite phrase when I was, before I started to heal. It was the phrase from Rocky Balboa that say, it's not about how hard you can hit, it's about how much you can stand being hit.
Okay.
Because he's not the strongest, but he wins because he doesn't go down,
Okay.
And so I think when I was not healed, one of my strengths maybe was that I could endure a lot, really a lot. But this is something I've had to address also at some point, that, hey, it's not because I can endure it that I should. And I should also maybe stop situations much earlier when I feel like, it's okay, I can take it, it's not so much of a big deal, because they never get better, they get worse, and then I'm like enduring, and yeah, it was one big lesson to be like. So maybe my new favorite phrase should be like, life is not for enduring, life is for enjoying.
Yes, agree. Okay, thank you so much. It was really easy, light, and you have amazing energy and beautiful eyes.
Oh, thank you so much. And thank you for your great questions and the resonance and your fun and light vibe I like also. It actually makes me think to like the little brush.